Yeah, no, I was on it, but it told me you could not hear me, so it suggested I get out and come back in.
I've got some suggestions for you, and it kind of involved getting out.
Yes, but this is Sunday, and you need to watch your mouth.
Hey, how's your day going?
So far, so good. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not getting too much glare. It's okay, but
It is what it is. You look good.
well, I know that.
You don't look that good. Sorry.
So, do you like my suggested title?
Yes, I do. I do like it. I'm well prepared, but not incredibly well prepared. I bet you we're going to have a little crossover.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will.
Well, especially on the comedians. On the films, that's all subjective. But.
Well, we'll see about that. But who cares, right? Who cares? We look good. Who cares? I've got my editor hat on today because I'm still working through the episode I wanted to release. It's a bear putting all the good stuff in there that we want. Now we want to elevate our production quality. Everything you say is important and relevant.
Well, I know that, Don.
Yeah, so no pun intended. I've got this hat on today because there's lots to do, but it's fine. It's great.
Or is it really because of your hair?
Ding. Not gonna happen. So yeah, do you want to do the intro or you want me to do it?
You can do it.
Okay, and then don't forget we're gonna do like the 3 points of what we're gonna talk about.
Yes.
And then we'll...
Which would be,
Don't give it away. Don't give it away.
Oh, well, honey, I never give it away.
That's not what I hear.
Stop it.
And then on a side note, I did have a text back and forth on Facebook with Joe and with Kevin. Did you see that?
I did.
Okay, so I think we might be able to get them to join it. If you're listening, Kevin and Joe, guess what? You're booked.
He's coming for you.
and we pay very well because we get paid really well too.
Just a quick question. Are you recording? I don't see a recording thing on.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
So that's it. Remember, we're going to do that now.
No. But I was like, we're missing it because I don't see it. That
you're missing it.
I don't miss much.
Okay, well, you missed that.
I missed this.
Oh, I know you missed that. This thing. Don't cry. It's just me. It's just me.
That's why I'm crying.
Hi, Gary.
Good morning, Don.
How are you?
I'm doing well for a Sunday morning.
Is it gray out there? It's like at the beach now. We've gotten through this thing of, gray mornings, and it's like April, but we're getting May gray, June gloom kind of things now.
I'm not actually here in San Francisco. It's been pretty nice. I'm looking forward to getting out after we're done here. I might go check out the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japantown.
Oh, nice.
I've never been, so I figured I'd go check it out. Okay. It's a nice day.
Cool. So yeah, we're going to be talking about a few things today. Gary came up with this idea. Actually, we brought it up, and it's going to be basically, we're going to entitle this one, Gary, what's it called?
It's called Top 3 Film Dramas and Funny Mamas.
So we're going to go through and list our top 2 or 3 famous dramatic movies that we like the most. We're also going to speak about some funny mamas that we rate as top 3. Is that what we're going to go with,
Yes,
Gary?
yes.
Okay, top 3. And then we're going to reiterate our website that's up and running, and how you can join it, how you can participate in it, and how you can win big prizes and large money. Well, no.
Am I entitled to win a big prize?
No. So.
Fine. Okay. Yeah. Go to the website. Yeah.
Okay. Like that. Hey everybody, it's Don from Don and Gary Doin 60, and we're excited to share our new website and the relaunching of our Facebook page. Our website has some fantastic features we know you're going to love. We're hosted by our friends at Podpage. The website and Facebook links are listed on the notes below. You can write us a review. Just click on the episode and leave us comments for Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We love voicemail. Just click the microphone at the bottom of the page and let us know how much you love the show, or maybe how I'm so much more funny than Gary. You can find all our videos and shorts on one page, and we have a blog where we list links to our sources, photos of our guests, and notes about the show. And finally, we're launching our Facebook page. We all love Facebook, and here's the place to find upcoming episodes, funny shorts, clips, and the latest scoop on the podcast. So what you waiting for? Come on in. The water's fine. And we can't wait to hear from you. Camera's not running. I don't want to talk to you.
Who said that? Or RuPaul?
Yes.
Well, she's a very smart woman.
So it's running. So welcome to Don and Gary Doing 60. We're here to unwrap, navigate, and get through the world at this age. You can find us on our new website, which is on Podpage. And you can see us on YouTube at Pfiver Pod at Don and Gary Doing 60. We're on Instagram at Don and Gary Doing 60. We're back on Facebook, and we're on Blue Sky. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Did I already say that?
No, you didn't.
Okay, well, now I'm saying it. And
you
what
can
else?
Throw in our email address,
Yes.
dongarydoing60@gmail.com for all those fabulous accolades, suggestions, comments, likes, which you can
Dislikes.
like on all those platforms.
Dislikes.
Dislikes?
Oh, no, nothing. Never mind.
No.
And and also eventually our website, as we said, is going to be the hub for all those great things too, where you can do all kinds of great stuff, including leave voicemails, leave comments for Spotify and Apple Podcasts, catch us on YouTube, see all of our episodes, basically worship us.
As if they don't already.
Anyway, sorry, let's jump in. Everything else is good with you besides the weather?
Yeah, it's Sunday morning. Nice weather here in San Francisco. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to try and head out. Hopefully, I'm going to try and rally some friends or neighbors and go check out the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japantown, which I've never been to.
Really?
And it's this weekend.
Really?
So,
You've never been to that?
yeah, well, there's a lot of festivals that go on throughout the year, especially from like April to October when there's nice weather.
Yeah.
And some I've been to over the years, some I haven't. But this one's one I haven't been to, so I figured I'd go check it out.
You go to Japantown a lot, though, don't you?
I do, yeah. They have a lot of good restaurants. I like going there. I was there recently to see a movie. And actually, it's a very, very cute movie that just came out. It's called A Nice Indian Boy, I think it's called, with Jonathan Groff.
Oh, okay.
And it's very sweet romantic comedy. So that just came out. So I saw it at the theater in Japantown.
Okay, well, speaking of movies,
yes.
You want to start with funny mamas or high dramas?
I think let's start with a cry and end with a laugh.
Okay, that sounds good. And I'm wondering if we'll have a little crossover. I mean, I think we will, but I don't know if we will. So why don't you start and go first?
Sure. So why we came up with this, because, well, we both enjoy movies, both enjoy comedies as well, funny women. And just to kind of lighten it up a little, and because everything's going on, sometimes we need a little cry or a little laugh to get us through the day. So we thought we'd start with top 3 films, and we picked the drama category. And of course, you can look at any number of lists, because it was a little stressful for me, because it's like there's hundreds of thousands of movies.
Yes.
Like our hundreds of thousands of fans.
Yes.
And it's hard to pick, we initially said top 10, that'd be way too much. Let's narrow it down to top 3. And I said, well, let me pull up some of those lists, top 50, top 100, top whatever. And, they're all subjective, have you said in the past. You look at the list and like, really? That's on your list? So I decided, since it's my top 3, and you're going to do your top 3.
Yes.
Right? It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but these are films that have, through the years, have always been ones that like kind of my go-tos of like, maybe I need a good cry, right? Or I need just a good drama.
Yeah, and they're probably movies that you've seen multiple times, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And it pops up on TV, and it's like, you know what, nothing else on, I'll watch it again.
Yep.
So, not that this is a factor, but 2 of the 3 are Oscar, winning films.
Okay.
Multiple Oscars.
Okay.
The third one didn't win any awards of any type.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, it won a couple like Rotten Tomato awards, which is not good. But I appreciate it, and if it's on, I will watch it, and I have it on DVD, I'm sure. So, in no particular order, the first one I picked was Ordinary People.
Oh.
You're here, and you're alive. And don't tell me you don't feel that.
It doesn't feel good.
It is good. Believe me.
Was Ordinary People.
Okay.
From
Yes.
1980.
Mary.
So Robert Redford directed it. It was his first movie he ever directed, and it starred Donald Sutherland, Mary Tyler Moore, Timothy Hutton, and Judd Hirsch. Three of those four were nominated for Academy Awards. Sadly, Donald Sutherland wasn't, and he was super good in this movie. But Mary Tyler Moore, we're all used to seeing her in her own TV show or Dick Van Dyke Show, comedy, sweet. And this one, it was a real turn for her. A lot of people refer to her character as a bitch. It was just more, if you know the story, a family of four, one of the sons accidentally dies in a boating accident. And I think when he died, part of her inside died. So it was obviously a traumatic thing for her. And Timothy Hutton, who plays the other son and the younger brother, he was with his brother on this boating trip. And so he feels guilty, like, even though it was a complete accident, it was a bad storm, and the brother drowned, his character felt very guilty and holds up with him, and a lot of trauma. So Judd Hirsch plays the psychiatrist. So a lot of drama in their sessions, a lot of tension between the mother and son, and then the mother and the father. Other supporting actors in it were really good. So just a really good film. It won four Academy Awards: Picture, Director, Supporting Actor, Timothy Hutton, and Adapted Screenplay. So so that was my.
Well, wasn't that one of the first times when we saw, like you said, Mary Tyler Moore had always been the funny Mary Richards from her show, and this was one of the first roles she took where she turned into a cold, very emotionally strapped person, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So it's I believe it is based. I think it is based on a book. And Robert Redford was looking. Oh yeah. After reading the novel, he had her in mind for the role of Beth, despite her roles as Laura Petrie and Mary Richards on TV. He said he made a comment where his family, I guess, growing up wasn't that great, so maybe there was some similarities. But what he saw in her for the role, I don't know, because that's not a side of her we've ever seen in a role she's played. She's always the nice girl. But I thought she was amazing in it. So
Yep, for sure.
yeah. And then cut some trivia things.
You did your homework.
Well, yeah, because when you pull up the film, it's like, oh, I didn't know that, little trivia. So this kind of fun stuff I'll throw in.
Okay.
Originally, Paramount, the film company, wanted Robert Redford for the role of the father, Donald Sutherland character. But he said no, he didn't find it interesting to him. Bruce Dern and Ken Howard were also considered. It says it is Timothy Hutton's film debut, which I didn't know that. So this was his very first film he ever did.
Really?
Because he did Taps and all these others, but they came after this.
Huh.
So this was his first film role. And so when Timothy Hutton was first offered the part, the role of his parents, who they were considering, were Anne Margaret and Anthony Franciosa.
Huh.
And other actors were, you always hear these stories of other actors that were considered for the role or auditioned for the role, but I don't usually hear about this. So Gene Hackman originally was cast as Calvin, the father, but dropped out because he couldn't come to a financial agreement.
Okay.
Richard Dreyfuss was also considered for the role of the psychiatrist. Natalie Wood was considered for the role of Beth, the mother, as well as Lee Remick and Anne Margaret. But Redford said when he read it and he knew he wanted to direct this was his first movie he was directing, he had her in mind, and he fought for her, and he got her.
What year was it again? 1980?
1980.
Wow.
Yeah. So her TV series had ended in like 77, I believe. So, she was still riding a high wave, and, and he just had her in mind. And the last bit of trivia on that was that Michael J. Fox auditioned for the role of Conrad, the son. Emilio Estevez, Sean Penn were also considered. Rob Lowe sought the role but couldn't get an audition. So it was just one of those films that I don't know if they knew in advance how well it would do, but it's a meaty drama, and a lot of people were trying out for it. So there's my little trivia on that.
Good job. And it's a shame because I believe Donald Sutherland passed away recently.
Right. I think it said in last year in 2024.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just the movie itself overall, I mean, it's a downer topic. you can never really have a happy ending because it's a drama.
Right.
It's just one of those that just, and not that I've had that similar experience in my family in terms of a trauma like that, but I don't know. It's just, I am drawn to movies like that, whether it's make you think, make you cry, whatever. Tears have been shed.
Well, and of course, because it was like I think Donald Sutherland was much more a sympathetic parent than Mary Tyler Moore was.
Right, right.
And didn't they somehow blame the death of the son on Timothy Hutton?
Well, I think his character felt that
responsible.
because she shut down
Okay.
after the other son's death.
Yeah.
He felt, I think, that she blamed him, even though, he didn't kill his brother. It was an accident.
And I think that kind of opened up that in that era of the 80s too, because there's actually someone who I'm going to mention a couple times who actually did some films in the 80s too, where they were trying on their dramatic chops, as it were.
Okay.
So a number of different actors and actresses have taken on that role because at the time, the 80s was one of those times where they were getting to realistic films, realistic in quotes, and dramas, and a lot of screenplays were being written after short stories or books. So, yeah.
Right. And I think, a lot of films try and tackle the tough, topics, whether it's suicide or, someone dying of, cancer or whatever it is. But I think in the older days, maybe they would allude to it. And this was maybe one where they kind of try to take it on head on. So I really love this movie. So that's my first one.
Okay.
You want to throw one out?
Sure. I'm going to take, and I don't know if this is on your list, but I went with Terms of Endearment from 1983.
Yeah, that was my other one.
Amazing. So you had it on your list too?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure, and that one is a frickin' tear jerker. If you want a good cry, oh my gosh, Deborah Winger, who I think is an incredible actor,
Right.
Amazing. She's such a good actor, and she's kind of definitely fallen out of the limelight over the last number of years. But just looking at that for the Academy Awards, it was a Best Actress for Shirley MacLaine, who also is in there as James L. Brooke, once for the Best Picture of the Year.
Yep.
Best Directing by James L. Brooks again, who's actually a good actor and a great writer. And finally, Jack Nicholson won for Best Supporting Actor in a role. Best Actor in a role for 1980.
No, in that role he was supporting actor.
Is it supporting?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry, because I was reading it's Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Don't contradict me. This is my movie. But yeah, we can all relate to it, right? Because it's that typical story where the mom and the daughter are being moms and daughters, so sometimes they get along, sometimes they don't.
It's that tug of war.
Yes, and Shirley MacLaine definitely does not care for the man that he ends up marrying at the time. His name is Flap. But, I got to say, Shirley MacLaine let her hair down literally and figuratively. She got to the point because, of course, as we all know, her daughter is diagnosed with cancer. I think it's terminal cancer. Yeah. And of course, that'll be definitely a note for someone to start thinking, oh, this is not going to end well, which it didn't. But there was that one, I'm sure there are a number of amazing scenes. One of the ones that I remember in a very lighthearted way is when she actually went to a party with her friend in New York. And the first thing out of their friend's mouth was, so you have terminal cancer. And she goes, and she spits out her canapé on someone because it's like...
Because leading up to that lunch, her friend told the other friends, look, she's got cancer, but we don't want to make a big thing about it. So make it part of casual, right? And Sass thought she thought it'd be casual. So Betsy tells us you have cancer.
And then she spits her food out.
It's like, well, that's just putting it out there.
Yeah, but back to the other side of it, I mean, and I'm sure you're going to agree with me too, there's a couple of pivotal scenes. One of them, of course, is where her daughter has to wait to a certain time each day to receive her medication for pain.
Yes.
For this cancer. And Shirley MacLaine is basically asking the nurses at the nurse's desk to give my daughter the medicine, or give her the pill, because she's waited this long, she's in pain. They kind of hesitate, they don't give it to her right away. And she literally is screaming, banging on it. It's like, someone give my daughter the pill, because she's been in so much. It's almost making me tear up thinking about it, because it's just such a heart-wrenching scene where she gets the nurse to finally give her daughter the medication that she needs, because she's been waiting all night and all day to get this medication, probably morphine, to relieve her pain.
Right.
Give her the shot, you understand? You're going to behave. Give my daughter the shot! Thank you very much. Thank
but no, that was a heart-wrenching one. It had its comedy moments too, and
Yes.
that was
Why should I? Why should I be happy about being a grandmother?
Does this mean you won't be knitting the baby any booties?
part into the Jack Nicholson part.
Yes.
But sometimes there were scenes that were you didn't have words to convey the message. So, Deborah Winger's character is in the hospital, and I guess they maybe they're away from home because they're staying at a hotel while she's in the hospital being treated. So Shirley MacLaine is like not all glammed up as she normally would be to be out and but she's suffering because of her daughter. And she walks back into the hotel, and sitting on the steps is Jack Nicholson, who's come to visit. And just that scene with no words, I'm going to tear up.
Yeah, see, right?
It was really, really sweet because that's not normally something his character would do, right? He was all about getting laid, right? Having dates,
Right.
But he came there for her, and they didn't have to say any words. So
Right.
it was a really. There's a lot of scenes like that in the movies. So.
There's also the scene where they're seeing each other after he's been gone for a long time, and they both grab each other's butts on the steps.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Right.
Yes.
And he's been courting her and flirting with her, and she's like, oh, it's beneath her to even consider it. And she finally agrees to go out to lunch with him.
Yeah.
In his convertible, and he takes it out with the top down. Remember, her hair gets on. That whole scene, it's just very funny because she's normally this put together, prim, proper, what will other people think? And he's like, he couldn't care less, right? He's flirting with other women while he's at lunch with her, and he's like, well, that's very inappropriate,
Yes. And doesn't she say, like, boys who don't mind their manners don't get dessert or something?
Something like that, yeah.
And she's like, we're going to need a lot of booze.
Right. So I love that mix of, there's that heavy drama, and then you have that, funny comedic moments or flirtation, whatever, that kind of, evens it out. So overall, it was one of my...
I want to give one more shout out to Deborah Winger, because there is a scene where she's speaking with her son, and she is definitely very ill and on her way out, and her son comes in, and he doesn't want to hug her. And she says, don't do it. Don't cry. Don't show any... I'm tearing up just talking about this. When she's telling, I don't want you to just show me that you're upset. I don't want you to cry. And the kid ends up bawling, and she's crying. It's like, oh my God. It's like, it's just an amazing scene. And again, Deborah Winger, such an incredible actor who has done many other things, but that is probably, I'm going to say, one of her most iconic roles. So yeah. So that was both on our lists, right?
Right.
Okay.
So you want a little more trivia on that one?
Sure.
Because I
What you
found
got?
trivia.
What you got?
So Sissy Spacek was originally scheduled to play the Deborah Winger role. Jodie Foster turned it down because she was going to Yale at the time and couldn't take time off. Real life mother-daughter actresses Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee Curtis were considered for the roles.
Okay.
Louise Fletcher was also considered for the role of Aurora, the mother. Kim Basinger was originally offered the role of Patsy, who's Deborah's best friend in the movie, but turned it down because of another movie role.
Okay.
What did it say? So Jack Nicholson's character, the astronaut, doesn't appear in the novel, which is interesting.
Okay.
This is based on the novel. It says the part was created for Burt Reynolds, but he was already committed to another film. So it was handed to James Garner. Garner quarreled with the director over differing interpretations. The part then went to Harrison Ford, who turned it down because he didn't like the age difference between himself and Shirley MacLaine. Paul Newman turned it down.
Wow.
So then it finally went to Jack Nicholson.
Wow. Who I think did it quite well, don't you?
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, he was like sixth in line or whatever. It's like, wow.
Wow.
And then, you may not remember this, but they made a sequel to this movie.
Did they?
So this movie came out in 1983.
Okay.
In 1996, so 13 years later, they did a sequel called The Evening Star,
Oh.
where
Okay.
Deborah Winger's three kids are all grown up, and they're probably still as messed up as ever. So Jack Nicholson and Shirley MacLaine reprised their roles. They were the only ones from the original film.
Okay.
But it didn't do that well in terms of the critics and stuff. I mean, I
Okay.
saw it.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, and they said, interesting, the three characters who played the kids as you know, in the first film,
Mm-hmm.
were old enough they could have played the same character again, but they didn't. They went with other actors. So
Okay. Okay.
anyway, so a little trivia on that.
Good job. That was good. And that, of course, now I have to rewatch that one. It's
Yeah.
been a long time.
Yeah.
So what's your next one?
So this is my third one, and again, it's
okay.
not one that went on any list, and it's like a glorified Hallmark movie, which is, I mean, that shouldn't be taken as a
No, Hallmark got me through COVID. Are you
right?
kidding?
Yeah, no, because I love a good Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
So it's called Message in a Bottle, from 1999. It stars Kevin Costner
Yes.
and Robin Wright,
Yes.
and Paul Newman plays his father.
I forgot about that movie.
And then a couple other supporting actors who are really good in it, John Savage and Ileana Douglas. I love both of them.
Yes.
So it didn't win any nominations, any awards. So it takes place where Robin Wright is a writer for a newspaper in Chicago. Kevin Costner lives in like Maine area, and he's a shipbuilder. And the message in the bottle refers to the fact that his wife died, and he couldn't deal with her death. So when he did, he would write letters to her, and he'd put them in a bottle, and then when he's out sailing, he would throw out in the ocean. And one of those bottles turned up in Chicago.
Okay.
And they turned it, and then Robin Wright was given the letter, and she was so intrigued by it, she wanted to find out more, like what caused this person to do this. So through investigation, she could narrow down where it came from, who did it. She met him, and ended up falling in love with him. Mm-hmm. And the end of the movie I'm not going to give, but it's a tearjerker.
Okay.
Paul Newman is amazing in it.
Okay.
And his relationship with his son is, again, a little bit of, touch and go.
Okay.
But their scenes together are amazing. And I really enjoyed the movie. Some would consider it a chick flick or whatever, but I'm going to admit it. I love a good chick flick.
Yes, but you know what? I'm sure a bunch of guys have seen that movie and tear up just the same.
Yeah.
Just the same.
So do you remember seeing that?
I do remember it. I forgot that Robin Wright was in it, who also is another incredible actor.
Yeah.
Who's done such a great job. I loved her on House of Cards. She's done so many good things.
Right.
Kevin Costner, actually, he's been on Yellowstone recently, which is getting
Right.
a lot of accolades. I don't recall the movie as well as you do, but I do recall seeing it. There was nothing to do with dragonflies in that one, was there?
No.
Okay, that's a different movie. Sorry. That's a different Kevin Costner
That's okay.
movie.
Yeah.
Who was also good in The Bodyguard. So we still love
He was in
Kevin
The Bodyguard,
Costner.
and then Field of Dreams.
Yes.
That is another one of those that, it was so hard to narrow it down to three.
We're going to have to do another episode of this, like B-side movies, like the ones that people that we probably like ourselves that no one's ever heard of. So maybe that'll be for another episode.
Yeah.
Okay. So good.
Let's see,
Anything
do I
else on
have
that
any
one?
Trivia on that. No, I didn't have too much trivia on that. Again, it didn't win any awards, but yeah. So I don't know who else was considered for the roles or anything like that. But those are my three. So Ordinary People, Terms of Endearment, and Message in a Bottle.
Okay.
So you mentioned
Terms of Endearment.
Terms of Endearment. So
Yes.
give me some.
Well, I have two, but I was vacillating between the two. That's a big word. I'll explain to you what it means later. Vacillating.
I like the sound of it.
Okay. It's a family
It's
show.
like one of my other favorite words, provocative. But go on.
So this one is one that I really enjoyed quite a bit. It's The Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
And it is a drama. As you know, came out in 1994 with Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman. And basically, as we all know, the premise of the show is that a banker was unjustly convicted of a crime, goes to a prison, and spends a time there actually making friends with and getting to know people inside of the prison. And eventually finds a way to escape that prison after basically using a knife or a spoon to carve behind different posters of his wall, which changed generationally through the years. So it starts with like Rita Hayworth, then it turns into Raquel Welch, and then it turns into Farrah Fawcett. So eventually what's amazing about this show, and what's really, I guess, poignant about it, is that it's narrated by Morgan Freeman overall. And he talks about what a good man this Tim Robbins character plays. because he actually does do a lot of good and helps out, like the accounting for the warden in the prison, who ends up to be crooked and dirty. And eventually, what he wants though, and does do, by basically carving out sand or concrete and putting it in his pant, going out to the yard and dumping it over years and years and years and years and years. And one of the things that comes out that's kind of the dramatic side of it is that Morgan Freeman is eventually released from prison. And he finds that he is having a very hard time being outside of prison, trying to get back into society.
Yeah.
He eventually wants to go back to prison, which I believe he does at the very end. Because, oh, I'm sorry, that's not right. He gets out of prison, but he struggles a great deal with being outside of the routines and the parameters and basically the walls of prison. And he comes back, and the wonderful thing is, like, they do show a very emotional scene where they explain or illustrate how Tim Robbins' character actually eventually gets out, goes through 3 miles of sewage pipes to get out, and eventually he leaves a box with money in it for Morgan Freeman buried under a tree.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember this?
Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I will be hoping that this letter finds you, and finds you well. Your friend.
In a way. But again, it's a very touching film. I loved it. It was a great thing. It came out in, I say, 1994.
Okay.
Yeah, and let's see.
You have any trivia on it?
It did not win any Academy Awards, but it was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor for Morgan Freeman, Best Adapted Screenplay, but it didn't win because basically Forrest Gump was actually happening the same year, and Forrest Gump cleared up that year.
Right,
so
right. Yeah.
Cleaned up that year, so yeah. But
It
everything was a
is
great
sad
film.
when you know, not the Academy Awards is the be all end all, but there's films that, like, I remember The Color Purple was up for like 11 or 13 nominations, didn't
Yep.
win anything.
Nope. Which is just mind-boggling to me.
Did you have any other?
I had one just
drama
honorable
films?
mentioned, and it's kind of like, it's a kind of a drama, but it's a campy drama. It's all about Eve.
Oh, wow, sure.
With Betty Davis and a little known then Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
Ann Baxter. It was 1950 the movie came out. It is a drama, but it's a narrated drama, not unlike Shawshank Redemption, where Morgan Freeman is speaking over it, but actually there is a character who is speaking over, who is actually basically the theater critic. I don't remember his name. I'm sorry, I don't have it. But he basically narrates the whole thing. And as you know, the story is Betty Davis is this aging actress on Broadway. Mm-hmm. She has a young girl that comes in and kind of befriends her or tries to get in with her as her assistant, unknowingly that she had an agenda to take advantage of and ultimately usurp. I'll explain that word to you later with Vacillate. And basically comes over and tries to take over her part in the roles because Betty Davis is aging. She has a younger boyfriend. But it's a great story. Yeah. I mean, it's a little campy. There's some great scenes in it. There's,
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Some very iconic stuff in there. But I thought, it is considered a drama.
I'd consider it a drama. Yeah,
absolutely.
sure.
But there's some really good comedic moments in there, too.
Yeah. No, that's why I said when I was trying to narrow down to top 3, you start looking at all the great classics, the Casablancas and the All About Eves and the, Gone with the Wind. I mean, there's just so many that are...
It's subjective. And now let me just...
So we're going to end film dramas.
Yes.
And now we're going to talk about funny mamas.
Funny mamas. Okay, you go first.
Okay. So we've already mentioned her name a couple times as Carol Burnett.
She was the first one on my list, too.
Right. I mean, you and I grew up on her. So TV, of course, most known for her own variety series on CBS, which ran from 1967 to 1978. So...
I think we bonded on her while her show was on, when we were watching the show on television and telling each other and talking about the lines from that show.
Yeah, I mean, I think because it was, back then in the 50s and 60s, variety was on TV, variety shows was very popular, right? Because Jackie Gleason and everyone had a variety show. She's one of the first women that was the lead of it, right?
Yep.
And then she had her ensemble characters of Harvey Korman and Vicki Lawrence and Lyle Wagner, and then later Tim Conway.
Yes.
But then it was the movie spoofs and the musical numbers, and the costumes, which
Without mascara, lipstick, powder, polish, shadow, the feel, wouldn't women be a mess?
they had, full on blown up musical numbers, dance numbers. They had an amazing cast of supporting players who were the background.
Did you
actors
tell
and
me that
dancers.
Bob Mackie actually made every single costume for that show?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. For all of her shows, and then went on to do Cher shows and other things like that.
Ain't she foxy? Ain't she slick? Ain't she some kind of super chick? A chick who would blow your mind. Tina Turner and Cher combined.
Super talented. But it was like quick, right? Because it was every week. And for 11 seasons. And then they had the skits that they would do, and the movie spoofs, and the commercials, and musical numbers, and so on. But, we all know a lot of her famous characters. Eunice of The Family.
You ain't playing with a full deck, Eunice. I think somebody blew your pilot light out.
That's a new one, Mama.
You wait, there's more, Eunice. You got splinters in the windmills of your mind. You're playing hockey with a warped puck.
Classic stuff.
And then she was Mrs. Wiggins with Tim Conway as Mr. Tudball. She was his secretary. The Charwoman, which was how the show started. The woman with the mop and the frumpy clothes. The famous movie spoof, so many of them named, but one of which, of course, is Wet with the Wind, which was
What Wind?
Gone with the Wind. And they had a recurring spoof of a soap opera, and they called it As the Stomach Turns.
Yes.
Harvey Korman, especially, when he did his, Clark Gable, or he dressed up as the woman in the, the whole bodysuit, the fat suit, and so that was just a variety show. But then in the 70s, especially in the 70s and part of the 80s, she did branch out into film. She did several films, Pete and Tilly, Front Page, A Wedding, which is a Robert Altman film,
Yes.
a big ensemble one, and she played the mother of the bride. One of my favorites was The Four Seasons.
Yes.
From 1981 with, look at this cast. Alan Alda, who I didn't know wrote and directed this movie as well
Really?
as starred in it as her husband. Rita Moreno and Jack Weston were another couple
Yes.
in this movie. And then Len Cariou and Sandy Dennis
Yep.
were the third couple. She's an Annie, the supporting role in that movie. And did some well-acclaimed TV movies, one of which was called Friendly Fire.
Yes.
Where she was the mother of a young guy who was killed in the war. She got accolades for that. Done some miniseries. More recently, Palm Royale, which I didn't see.
Well, I was going to wait for you to mention that one, because the best part about her in that is basically she sits on a bed like this for 8 episodes. Doesn't
Right.
say a word.
Oh, she never speaks?
Not until the end of halfway through the series. And it's great because they just have shots of her in bed like this in a coma. That's all she does. She's lying around for 8 episodes or 5 episodes or something. It's really good, actually. But then she wakes up.
There was a miniseries years ago, and it was when all the nighttime soaps were very popular, Dynasty and
Yep.
Falcon Crest and all this. So she was in one, a miniseries, a spoof of Falcon Crest. It was called Fresno. And she was the matriarch, and the only other actor I remember in it was Gregory Harrison. But it was one of those that, at the time, it was very popular, very funny. So, but she's one of those that is equally comfortable doing comedy and drama. She's also a singer. She's not known as that, but she did several variety specials on TV singing with Julie Andrews and Beverly Sills. She did one
They
with
were quite
Garden
good
Garden.
friends.
Yeah,
They were quite good friends, right?
very good friends, and they still are. They're both still alive. She is, I think she'll be 93
Oh my gosh, really?
on her next birthday.
Wow.
Let's see. She has won for Emmys 6 wins, 23 nominations.
Wow.
Golden Globe 7 wins, 18 nominations. She's been nominated for a Tony 3 times, won once. Nominated for a Grammy 3 times, won once. So all she needs is an Oscar to fill out her EGOT.
Did you mention that she started at Once Upon a Mattress? Did you start there?
That was her first.
Okay.
1959. That was
Wow.
her first.
I've always been shy. I confess that I'm shy. Can't you guess that this confident air is a mask that I wear 'cause I'm shy?
1959. That was
Wow.
her first Tony nomination. So she started. Well, I think everyone knows the story where she was. Did not grow up in a rich family. It was a very poor family in Los Angeles. Her grandmother and she would pass time by seeing a lot of movies, so she fell in love with Hollywood. Was able to go to UCLA, but then when she wanted to pursue acting as a career, she felt she had to be in New York, but couldn't afford it. So she had performed in some like local party for a lot of local people, and there were some rich people there who really appreciated her. So one of the guys said, I will loan you the money. At that time, it was like $1,000, they said.
Huh.
Yeah, at the time, it was $1,000, equivalent to $11,709 in 2024.
Wow.
So by that time, $1,000, got you a lot going. So, and he said the stipulation was that you could never reveal my name, have to pay it back within 5 years, and if you achieve success, you have to pay it forward, basically.
Oh, wow.
So she's never revealed his name. She did pay him back 5 years to the day, and then she has obviously tried to pay it forward.
Wow.
And then CBS approached her like, hey, how would you like to, sign a contract with us? And the contract stipulated, and I don't know if she put this in or her lawyer put it in, but she had the right to do whatever she wanted to do.
Huh.
And she wanted to do a variety show, and they're like, no, we don't really see you, because there was a woman leading a variety show back in that time. No, it's not going to happen. And the contract something like she was committed. They had to make X number of shows, and it could be whatever she wanted. And she wanted to do that, and she did it, and then it ended up running for 11 seasons.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, yeah. So that's my first one.
Okay. Well,
so
I'm
is
gonna.
there anything else you want to add to that?
No, I think you covered all of it because we both adore her and have been following her for years. I think you and I, as I mentioned
Still
before,
quote her.
still quote her, still do all of the things from the show. It went with the wind. What wind? Well, that ain't pretty. Well, that's pretty good. Didn't answer my question. That kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, Mrs. Wiggins. I think we used to do improvs of those characters all the time.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Did you ever walk into a room with a curtain rod on your shoulders?
No, but no, I didn't. But I wanted to.
It's not too late.
So yeah, let's jump into mine real quick. And she might be on your page too, but I'm going to mention Madeline Kahn.
Bob!
Yes, Your Highness.
Oh, Bob! Do I have any openings that this man might fit?
Oh, no, I didn't. But yeah, she definitely
Yes,
would be
so
on
Madeline Kahn, an amazing actress. We've seen her in a million different Mel Brooks films. She was in High Anxiety. She was in Blazing Saddles. She was in Young Frankenstein. I've tried to imitate her many times unsuccessfully with, talking about how she was tired. She was basically doing a parody of a Marlene Dietrich character in Blazing Saddles where she's saying, I'm tired. Everything below the neck is kaput. So yeah.
Satisfy their lustful habit. I'm not a rabbit. I need some rest. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Come on in.
Lily!
Eddie.
It's Headley. For you, my dear.
Oh. How ordinary. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, come on in.
Wie geht's, meine Schatzi? For you.
Oh. A red rose. How romantic. Have a seat, Sheriff.
She was a supporting character in the Barbara Streisand Ryan O'Neal movie What's Up, Doc?
Yes.
played-
Oh my gosh, I forgot. She was
played
Edith,
Ryan
right?
O'Neal's. She played his fiance.
Edith.
And
Is it Edith?
and Eunice Burns.
Eunice, yes.
Burns. Barbara Streisand takes over her persona, so
Yes.
everyone else in the movie thinks she's the real Eunice Burns. Like, who's this
Yes.
boss? And she's amazing in that too.
It's just that little flip hairdo and
Yes.
oh my god, that's actually an excellent film.
What are you doing with?
Hello? 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 This can't be the Larrabee. Why, those are Howard's. What on earth are you doing with Howard Bannister's rocks?
What are you doing with Howard's rocks?
Yes, and of course, you know, there's she did History of the World Part 2, I think, or Part 1, or both of them.
Mel
And she's
Brooks
in there. One of
movie,
like
yes.
she plays Cleopatra in one of the, and she's basically talking about, "Stop! You're making my tits fall off."
Yeah.
Could you please step on the same foot at the same time? My tits are falling off!
And then there's a thing where they have a bunch of guards taking off and leaving the room, and they're bouncing, and they don't have any underwear on, and she's watching them bounce away with them. It's like, yeah, I mean, she's done so many. You would know the name of her in High Anxiety when she wore the Louis Vuitton's like jumpsuit with a Louis Vuitton Cadillac.
Right. Her outfit matched her car.
Yes. Do you remember her name in that one?
I want to say it was Victoria something, but I'd have
Victoria
to look it up.
Brisbane.
That could be it. I remember it was something.
She also was on. She's done a lot of Broadway. She was singing a lot of Stephen Sondheim that you can see her on YouTube. She was an amazing actress. Unfortunately, she died in 1999 from ovarian cancer.
Yeah.
So that was a huge loss to. I can't imagine if maybe had she lived longer, what she would still be doing. But I'm sure it would be amazing.
Want to know a little trivia about her also? Okay,
Yeah, for sure.
She's a singer.
Yeah.
It was either on women that we used to listen to back in the day, Melissa Manchester or Carol Bayer Sager. She sang backup for them on some of their songs.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I might have seen her credits on the CBS film or albums.
I think
crazy.
she and Melissa sang backup on one of Carol's songs. Yeah.
She was also in Clue. And
I
The
want
Chief
no
Detective.
part of this. I just want my share of the money so that I can get my hair done.
Somebody's coming up to. There were just so many good films during that era. So yeah, I mean, it's a great loss that she wasn't around, but she did leave a legacy of incredible characters.
I didn't think about her, but it was one of those. It was hard to narrow down to three, but she definitely would be in my top list as well.
Yeah.
Love Madeline Kahn.
Who do you have?
Lily Tomlin.
Oh, absolutely.
Started out, doing stand-up, but is also a writer, producer. She's actually done some singing too, but her stand-up led to sketch comedy, and then she started doing characters, which led her to a TV show, a variety show back in the late 60s, early 70s called Roan and Martin's Laugh-In.
Oh, God, I remember that.
Which ran from 69 to 73.
Mm-hmm.
And from that show came some of her characters, which she made super popular. Ernestine.
One ringy dingy. Two ringy dingies. A gracious good afternoon. Have I reached the party to whom I am speaking? This is Miss Tomlin of the telephone company.
Yep.
Edith Ann, the little girl.
Yep.
In the big rocking chair.
Mm-hmm.
Judith Beasley.
Oh,
This
right.
kind of tightly wound woman with a hair bun and everything were proper. She had other characters. She did one-woman shows on Broadway where she'd incorporate these characters. Tons of TV appearances. The West Wing, Grace and Frankie on
Love
Netflix
that.
with Jane Fonda.
Yeah.
Movies, 9 to 5 and Nashville, and more TV appearances, Murphy Brown, Will and Grace, Desperate Housewives. She's done, I don't know if they still do them, but comedians, stand-up comics used to do comedy albums. So she did one based on a show called Appearing Nightly, which is a Broadway show and I have that on LP. That's how old I am. And then I did another one called The Search for Signs of Intelligent Life in the Universe.
Yes.
Again, where she's just playing multiple characters, some comedy, some drama. A lot like Whoopi Goldberg back when she started, right? Where it was character-driven and didn't always have to be funny. It could get quite serious, but always with some kind of message, but not like in your face.
Right.
I worry that drugs have forced us to be more creative than we really are. The other day I bought a wastebasket and I carried it home in a paper bag. And when I got home, I put the paper bag in the wastebasket.
For you and me, would have been like, you remember those lines. So I'm secretly like reciting them with her as she's saying them.
Right.
And I remember going to the restroom at the end of the show, and a couple of younger guys were like, that's all old material. It's, I don't know why didn't you have any new material? I'm thinking, when you go see a singer, you want them to sing their hits.
Right.
And yeah, they're going to introduce some new songs. But what makes it special for you is that you remember a lot of their big hits when they were, at the peak of their career. So I saw this as an equivalent. I'm like, she did her greatest hits right in front of us. And it brought back a lot of special memories, but they didn't appreciate that. They were more critical of like, I want to hear new stuff.
Who cares what they think?
I know, that's true.
Remember that one bit she did with the detergent called Grr?
Yes.
Grr. Well, Johnny isn't yours.
Yeah, she was a commercial where advertising a laundry detergent, and in the process realized her husband isn't having an affair.
Yes.
These lipstick stains on my husband's collar. Well, anyway, you only need half a cup because it's concentrated. See? You can actually feel it coming on for weeks and weeks now. He's been so indifferent no matter how hard I try to please him. For even the most delicate washables, like this sheer pink negligee he gave me on our 8th anniversary, All I ever wanted was supper on the table and no responsibility. Well, you want to know something? Billy isn't yours.
And Grr will take that out. And then she says, Johnny isn't yours.
All you ever wanted was supper on the table, no responsibility. When you want to know something, Billy isn't yours.
See, this is what happens when we talk about these people. We just start ripping them out. So I think that, and she's been with her longtime partner for a long, long time, correct?
Yes, Jane Wagner.
Yes.
And it's interesting because they said, in Hollywood, everyone knew that they were a couple, but they never talked about it. She never has publicly come out and said, I'm gay, I'm a lesbian.
She doesn't need to.
She doesn't need to. And good for her for not having it. She just lived her life and would never shy away from saying, my partner wrote this, because Jane Wagner wrote the majority of her act, of her material. And was always there front and center, never shied away or have her go on these fake dates with, Hollywood men so that people wouldn't, suspect.
Yeah, trying to put a beard on.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it says that they eventually got married.
Oh.
Her partner, now wife, writer Jane Wagner, they met in 1971. They got married December of 2013 after 42 years together.
Wow.
So that's now 12 years. So they've been together 54 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So good for them. She's won 7 Emmys, 1 Grammy, 2 Tonys, and she's been nominated for an Oscar 1 time. So I thought she was an EGOT. But she's not. She's 1 O short of an EGOT.
So she needs an Oscar?
Yeah. She got nominated for Nashville back in 1975. That was her film debut. But she hasn't been nominated since then. Other amazing movies besides 9 to 5.
I think you did it. Oh. But why? Why?
Why do you think?
because I'm a sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot?
Bingo.
Besides 9 to 5, All of Me with Steve Martin.
I remember that.
Big Business with Lily Tomlin.
Yep.
I mean, no, she's Lily Tomlin. With Bette Midler, excuse me. They played, it was two sets of twins. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember
It's
that.
me with a bad haircut. Bad. I paid $12 for this.
I am going to kick your ass.
I do remember
She did The Incredible Shrinking Woman.
I forgot about
And then
that.
one that people kind of poo-pooed, but it was her in one of her few straight roles with John Travolta called Moment to Moment. She was the older woman in love with the
I
younger man.
do remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, I put it on the list.
Right, why not?
So anyway, so yeah, that was my second one who I had on my list.
Okay.
And I'm sure my third one is on your list, but who do you have on your?
Well, I'm
Or
going
do
to let
wanna
you go
mention
because
anything
I
else,
only chose two, so you go ahead.
Okay. Well, we've mentioned her a few times. In fact, I should have her stamps in front of me. Betty White.
Ah, God, of course.
You sold Belgian waffles.
You don't know what I sold. Can you believe that backstabbing slut?
Another pioneer. She started on radio, transitioned to TV when it started. She had her own TV show called The Betty White Show back in 1952, ran for a couple of years. She produced and starred in her own show, which at that time, a woman to produce and star in the mid-50s called Life was Elizabeth. Tons of game shows, appearances. She even hosted a game show for a short time.
Really?
Back in the 70s or something, which up until then, that was like man's.
Well, didn't her husband host Password?
Yes, and that's
Okay.
where they met.
Okay.
Alan Ludden. So they were married for many years until he passed away. She never remarried. But when she hosted the game show, she was the first woman to ever host her own game show.
Really?
After that, since then, yes, other women have. But
Okay.
at that time, it just wasn't, it was all men hosting the shows.
Yep.
They never considered it. But she did it. Guest starred on the Carol Burnett Show. Part of the Mama's family. She played Ellen, Eunice's sister, rich snotty sister. And then when Mama's Family spun off to its own TV series, she made appearances on that in the same character. Boston Legal.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of supporting
Yes.
roles. Of course, Sue Ann Nivens in the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, God. Veal Prince Orloff.
Yeah. The Golden Girls. I mean, come
Oh,
on.
God, yes.
And then at that point, you think, oh, she's going to retire. Then they asked her to play, I think, in the opening, the pilot of a show called Hot in Cleveland.
Oh, God.
You try the lemon meringue? No, the guys at Pie Curious were right. Once you go blackberry.
Oh, God.
And they ended up keeping her character.
Yes.
So that ran for several seasons, was super popular. Did movies. One of my favorite, The Proposal with Sandra Bullock and Ryan
Oh,
Reynolds.
yes, where she starts feeling her boobs.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can find your boobs. They're in there somewhere.
Yes, they are.
It's like an Easter egg hunt.
Maybe they shrunk up in the cold Alaskan air.
Oh, there they are.
Yes, it would be.
She played tons of movies.
Have you seen the outtakes of those?
Yes.
Oh, they're amazing. So classic.
There's a clip, it's behind the scenes of The Proposal where she's sitting in a chair and Ryan Reynolds walks up to her and she treats him like one of the stagehands. I told you to get me a fucking cup of coffee. So actually, Miss White, I'm in the movie with you. I play your grandson in the movie. Don't give me that. And yeah, she's mouthing. It's a really funny scene.
There's another one I have to mention, an outtake from Hot in Cleveland, where there's a line when she says her bender is over. And they say bend her over, and she just loses it. I will try and find the clip. It's like bend her over, and she just cannot say it.
In fact, that's my screen name. Betty Rope. If you like Lou... No, that's not right, Betty.
How about you guys take 5? I'll put on a giant pot of coffee and we'll house for a few more hours.
A little louder, honey.
How can I speak to the...
Because you're British.
That's fine. I know what action means.
So do I, but it's been so long. Oh, we have a sizable sucker American community. What are you laughing at? Californication.
Go back to the whole line, Betty. I need the whole line.
I can't just say fornication.
Tons of bloopers from that show. I didn't watch the series.
Yes,
but
that's
I've
good,
seen
actually.
on YouTube tons of bloopers, and they were just amazed at the energy that she had.
Yes.
She lived to be 99. She was 3 weeks shy of her 100th birthday.
It's amazing.
She passed away December 2021.
Mm.
Super beloved. I don't think anyone had anything bad to say about her.
Mhm.
Huge animal activist. Loved her comedy. Did drama that she wasn't really known for, but she had some amazing scenes in different shows and movies. She did a Snickers commercial.
Yes.
Where they're playing football in the
Yeah.
mud.
Yeah.
And they've done several of these where they there's a woman in the role, or Aretha Franklin. There's one where they're in a car. Aretha Franklin's in the back seat, and Liza Minnelli's in the front seat.
Oh God.
And this is where they're playing football, and it's like, you play like a girl. That's not what your girlfriend said. I mean, so she is up for anything.
Yes.
And she became never, her popularity never died, but there was a period, because of social media or whatever, that there was a campaign on Facebook for her to host Saturday Night Live, which she did a couple years ago before she passed. And her first thing when she came out on stage, she said, I can't believe you guys all, because of Facebook. You know, I checked it out and I find it a huge waste of time. But, she's a trooper and I mean, literally kept going to the end.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that all of these people we've discussed, these dramas and mamas, they actually were trailblazers in almost every aspect of the word when it comes to the industry, what they've done, how they led the parade towards a woman being in charge of her own production, her writing, her content, her ability to carry a show, hosting a game show. These women have actually done an amazing amount of trailblazing, and I think we should be very grateful to all of them, because we're standing on the shoulders, or a lot of new people are standing on the shoulders of these people who paved the way.
Now, what was I here for? Oh, yes. I'm going to kill one of you.
What?
But I have a lot more people to kidnap, and we're running out of space. Now, I'm not a monster. I'm going to let you folks decide which one of you I stab and stab and stab until you're dead.
So.
Yeah, and what I love about each one of the ones that we mentioned in terms of the ladies is that for them it was all about the craft. There's no drama involved in anything, or it was never about them. It was about their art.
Yes.
And what they brought to it, and they all have a huge legacy that they leave behind that you can catch on, YouTube, or rent the movie, or listen to their records, whatever it is. They stay with us forever. I mean, let's say Carol Burnett was in the late 60s, so we've been talking about her for 60 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Same thing with Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
And, Madeline Kahn. The names we mentioned, they're all, legends.
Yes.
Who well-deserved accolades, and will stay with us forever. So
yes.
There you go.
So well done, film dramas and funny mamas. I think that was a really good. You're good at titles, I have to say.
Well, I do what I can.
Good. Now, don't expect me to call you anything that begins with Sir or Your Majesty. Almost ready to shut this one down?
I think so.
Okay, can I carry it this time?
You better.
Okay. If we're ready to shut this one down, I'm ready to shut you down, mister. Thank you for joining us at Don and Gary Doing 60. We hope you enjoyed spending the quality time with us. Join us next time as we discover we are a few sandwiches short of a full picnic. You can find us at Instagram at Don and Gary Doing 60. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube at The Pfeiffer Pod, Don and Gary Doing 60. And we are at Podpage. Our website is actually hosted at Podpage. I will put the address up above us, and I will put them in the liner notes to navigate it, but we would love you to go visit that site. Leave us comments. You can actually go on there and leave us voicemails. So we're going to really push this down your throats, and you're going to do it, because we need you to.
Okay.
Calm down. There's no more coffee for Don. He's done for the day. But no, the website's really cool. I can't wait for people to start using it, especially for the voicemails and for the comments.
The question, is the website up and running
It
yet?
is up and running, and again, I will put the website here.
Okay.
And thank you, Podpage. They're not a sponsor, but I gotta say I had the best experience working with them, getting us up and running. It's a great, great platform. So if you want to host a podcast, they're your people. I love them.
Well, kudos to you you're the one who's been putting all this together and the
Sleepless
editing
nights.
and research and putting in the music and putting in that.
No, do it. You gotta do it like this. Now do it so I can see them there. No, do it above your head. There. No, lower. There. No, like, no. Okay. I'm going to give you one ding. So you're getting one ding. That's all you're getting. Because actually, I've been working as the editor on the episode that's coming out this week, and there's a lot of dings in there. So please forgive us ahead of time, because you're going to hate that noise.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Well, aside from the two usual dings.
You and me, ding dong.
Yeah.
Okay. Well done. Good choice. Okay, well, it's great. Gary, that was a lot of fun. Thank you.
It was.
Okay.
We will do this again. We'll pick other categories and have fun with it.
Yeah, so we'll do a B-side next time. Or top 3 songs. Or maybe you could tell us what you'd like us to do top 3 of.
Well, instead of comedians, I thought we were doing favorite singers. I'm going through my playlist, so we can do female singers.
We gotta do male singers, too. We'll do male singers next time, another time.
Yeah, no, there'll be more of these, but yeah, we'll come up with more categories. It'll be fun.
Okay, well, have a great weekend, Gary. That was fun. Talk to you later.
Okay,
bye.
Bring the paper in. It's gonna take a lot to get me away from you. Damn.
There's nothing that 100 men or more could ever do.
Sapien.
I bless the rains down in Africa.
Oh, bless the
I bless the rains down in Africa. I bless the rains down in Africa.